Have you seen this? So here's a guy in a tuk-tuk. I'm assuming it's India or somewhere in Asia, and he decides to change his back tire while driving a fare.
Well, Apache, I love it. That's awesome.
What do you reckon, Matt? Like, have you ever seen companies? And I think that the capture is we need to do a core systems replacement, but we also need to continue delivering value.
Yeah, I think that sums it up, right? What balance?
And what's your view on that? Where's the balance, right? Because we all get that companies need to keep going. So where's the balance, do you think?
It's a great question. I think that companies need to be very careful about focusing too much on front-end experiences at the benefit of their core. I know that sounds a weird thing to say, right? But what happens, and the data plays this out, is that if you build front-end experiences without fixing the rest of your organization, fundamentally two things happen. You set up a value proposition with a client where they go, oh, this wonderful experience until the last few steps. And then it falls over because you couldn't fix your back end. Banks are in this situation at the moment. They have a very slick loaning experience until you get to the end, and then you've got to fax all your documents to them. And so that's because their back end process is so shit, they couldn't actually get the last mile of that experience right. And so that creates a more frustrating customer experience than if you didn't have that slick e-commerce experience at the front, because you created an expectation that you can't fulfill. Second problem is internally, staff morale goes down when you do that. And people go, well, why is that? You create a better customer experience at the front end. Why would staff morale go down? And the data kind of proved it was because the staff end up running around and being the glue that holds together your shitty back end processes that you couldn't get right. So they are the ones that are trying desperately to fulfill that value proposition you created with that front end experience. And so you've got to be very careful about doing too much in the front end without fixing your core, without reorganizing your labor force, and without actually creating that seamless experience end to end. So I think that's one absolute challenge. The other end is if you go the other way and you just spend too much time working on your core platform without building anything, you get overtaken in the market.
Yeah. I love the Vanguard method, which is which talks about releasing features, but not at the detriment of creating backend problems. So, should you continue to be releasing more and more features out there, or should you actually be looking about how much work is done in the backend and clean the backend up, make that efficient?
Absolutely.
And I think some organizations out there are too orientated around new features, and all they're doing is building more and more tech debt at the back, more and more tech debt. And then they go, well, why do we have so many temps? Why is there so many processes? So, and it's because they're out of kilter. And
then they build more tactical processes to deal with it rather than optimizing it and actually putting some automation in, or actually investing in process optimization. Yeah. Because that's less sexy than the front end new app, unfortunately. And if you go back to funding cycles, it's harder to get that over the line. And I just think that that's really where a lot of organizations, it's not just in Australia, I see this across all across APAC, but it's particularly prevalent in banking and finance, because they were kind of the first movers in getting those front end apps improved.